With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, teach our children to stop the fighting, start uniting, live as one. Let's get together, loving forever, sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
As we breathe, as we feel the vibration of the music, let us acknowledge the sanctuary that is within us, a sacred place, a holy place that is within, a place that is guiding us, divine order, that place where we feel love, and that love is expanding out, and our imagination is unfolding and creating, and we know our sense of power in a positive way, in a loving way, in a way that expresses the divine will of God. And as we walk in divine will, we are filled with faith. And that faith leads us into life and wisdom. And it is in this place of wisdom we have a new sense of understanding, compassion for the world. We allow our judgment to be that of love, understanding, and allowing us to be good stewards of our life and our energy. And in those areas that we have been carrying and holding grudges or negative energy, we release it right here and right now at our inner altar. We come to that altar to release, to eliminate, to be free. As we do that, we experience a new sense of zeal. In that special place, that divine place within, we go to rest, to listen, to be. hear the sounds of nature, of the wind blowing, of the rain. We allow ourselves to feel safe and secure in these walls, in this community. And as we feel that sense of knowing oneness, safety, of peace, we let it radiate out to those who have walked through the storm. They may feel our love. They may feel our peace. You know that structures can be rebuilt. It's that inner core, that inner strength that we affirm for ourselves and others. We may know the truth. That truth sets us freer than free. We allow our love to fill up and express out. In the name and through the power of the indwelling Christ. Amen. Good morning. I'm Reverend Sondra von Gyllenband, and it is wonderful to see each and every one of you here today. Feeling and knowing the truth is why we come together. And we've been studying the 12 powers that our co-founder Charles Fillmore wrote about, the 12 powers that are within each of us that are sometimes a little confusing, and people wonder, what do you mean 12 powers? Well, what we mean is the 12 aspects of the Christ mind, the 12 aspects that encompass the wholeness of the Christ. So that means that we come together with the power of love, that we come together with the power of imagination, that we come together with the power of power, the power of strength. We come together with the power of life and faith and order and wisdom and will. We come together with elimination and wisdom. Did I say wisdom already? I'll say it again. Wisdom is such a good power. And release and zeal. So this week we are on life. We are on the power of life. And for me, it was important to do life last because it's the coming together of all of the powers, bringing all the powers into the fullness of life. So it's not one or the other, but all powers. Fillmore says that to really describe the power of life, we recognize that it is ultimately the mystery of mysteries, that it is in the consciousness of humankind. And if we think about it for a moment, we'll see the point that he's trying to make. After all, science has been about figuring out all the different aspects of science that can be figured out. We have quantum physics, and we know that we can split an atom and it will rejoin itself. We know a lot of information about science, and we know a lot about how the body works. But do we really know how it works? How the life functions, how all of life functions. So there's an image from the eclipse up, and I think about those times that people did not understand what an eclipse was. And so these eclipses would happen, and people would wonder and think it was a sign of something. And indeed, it is a sign. It is a sign of life and the mystery of life and the wonder of all of life. So we have cracked so many codes of nature, and we may understand it, but we are still awed by it. At least I'm still awed by it, and I suspect many of you are also awed by it. So we call God by many names. We call God Spirit, Universe, Krishna. We call the Buddha nature. We have all these different names that we use. In truth, what we know is very little about the nature of how it all began. There's speculation, there's belief. We know very little for sure about this nature of life. We came into existence with many mysteries. So to understand the mystery of the 12 powers, it is important that we recognize that Charles Fillmore was a visionary and that he was about seeing what was happening even before there were many people that understood it. I think today, if Charles Fillmore was here, he would just be having a great time with all the different scientific discoveries. But to understand the 12 powers, we have to first know that there are 12 expressions of one power. And so just like a prism, which light goes through it and it broadcasts into many colors, so the Christ mind is one, going through into life with many colors. So our color may be that of love or faith or order. We all have our different pieces in which we are strong in and those that we are developing. And it's important to know what we are strong in and what we're developing. We had this conversation in the first service today. So we're here to learn about developing our power with love, with compassion, with gentleness for ourselves. And Fillmore says that the power of life is like the wind. It's like the wind. Now we know a little bit about that today, don't we? Because we cannot see the wind, but we can see the results of the wind. We can see wind blowing things, moving things. We can see things changing as a result of it. But can you really see the wind? And do we recognize that as things are out there, whether we can see them or not, about 10% of life is what happens to us, and 90% is how we respond to it. That is, we have choice. And so in life, it's important that we remember that one key element of choosing where we are in the moment. Where we are, what is happening. Life is often about sensation, about the sensations we're feeling in the body, or at least we think it is. But is that really life? Or is there something else more mysterious, quieter, that's moving that we can't quite grab a hold of? We can use it, and we can appreciate it, and we can see the results of the power of life. And we can make choice as to how we're going to live it. But there are going to be some things, that 10%, that's just going to show up, like hurricanes. Have you ever been able to control one? I know there are a lot of people that do a lot of prayers, and they may move as a result of those prayers. You know, the first week that I was in Beaumont many years ago, there was a hurricane. And they didn't even know the hurricane was coming, and they didn't even announce it. And the next morning, people were going, what happened? Because all the trees are down and all of that. And they called me and said, why are you going to work? I was driving to work. Why are you going to work? There's been a hurricane. I don't know, I guess because there's no reason not to go to work. Then the next week there was a hurricane, and we all evacuated because there was going to be a very big hurricane. So we evacuated. Nothing happened. Next week, another hurricane. We evacuated. This one was going to be the big one. We evacuated, nothing happened. So a couple of weeks, maybe a month later, here comes another one. They named it Ike. And I said, I am just really tired of all these evacuations. I'm going to stay home. Boom, a big one comes, right? So the next morning I got up and I said, well, it looks like I should be leaving because we're not going to have power for a while. I didn't really have any control about life, but I had control about how I responded. Those times I moved out, the times I stayed. And what was interesting was when those hurricanes would come, and even when the big one came, we met in church on Sunday. The last one, the big one, Ike, we met outside under the portico. We sang songs and we talked and we prayed together. We come together in life. We make choice to put God first. We make choice to be one in spirit. We've made a choice to be a spiritual community here, haven't we? And we want to do that in a way that supports all of us. So what is life? They say it's from B to D, from birth to death. But what's between B and D? C. So what is C? It's that choice that we have. It's the choice that's important for us to remember. So live well and it will never go wrong. I'm here to say it will go wrong. It will go wrong according to our plans, but it won't go wrong in the overall truth of life. Life is an active force that is moving and something that we have the opportunity to work with and build on forever. Now, Charles Fillmore thought that death was the evidence that we had not yet achieved perfection in the use and the expression of our life power. How do y'all feel about that? You kind of go, oh, you feel like maybe you've done something wrong? Because I don't. I think Charles Fillmore had a great idea, but I'm real okay with knowing that life does go on and it may not be in this body. It's all right with me. So we have this story of all the 12 powers, and we've been there, and now we're to life. And what's important about life is that it comes together, that it's all the powers, that it is in oneness that we live, it is in wholeness that we are, and it is important to live those powers together, to put them together, to be aware of them. And so if we're really going to live life fully, it's important that it be like riding a bike, that we keep moving because that keeps us balanced, that we keep doing what is ours to do, that we keep showing up to be in the oneness and the truth, that we keep remembering even those times when we feel like maybe it's not the way I want it to be, maybe it's not the way I thought it was going to be. I didn't want to have to do this. I didn't want to have to evacuate one more time, but I get to, because it's life, whether I choose to make it hard or whether I choose to make it easy. I said this last week, and you don't know that, and I meant to tell you. This young lady over here said to me one day, they can wear the same pants to get happy in that they wore to get sad in. Thank you very much, Leslie. They wear the same pants to get happy in that they got sad in. Sometimes we think that we don't have a choice, but we do. So we've got these 12 powers. We have the power of faith. That's a walking. That's a putting it into action. We have the power of strength. That's building us up in those moments that we forget. We have wisdom. Wisdom and love mixed together is a good thing. We don't want to just go out loving without that wisdom. And we have power and imagination. And again, it's important to use them together. We have understanding and will. We have order. Boy, order is important to declare over and over. And order and zeal go together and work together in harmony. Because if we just go out doing everything we think of to do without a sense of order, we may just fly off, not knowing what to do and not getting anything accomplished. So we want to be We want to be in oneness and in harmony in that. And then elimination. Oh my goodness, elimination is about forgiveness. And forgiveness is that important element in life. If your life is feeling really out of whack, look and see if there's some area that you are willing to forgive and that you have a need for forgiving. And life is just all of this together. And so Maya Angelou says, it's so brilliant, my mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with passion, with some compassion, with humor and style. Does that feel good? I'm going to read it again just so we can feel the energy of that. My mission in life is not to merely survive, but to thrive, and to do so with passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style. Are you willing? Emerson says that great hearts send forth steadily the secret forces that incessantly draw great events, and whatever the mind of man goes to, nature will accompany him, no matter which the path. So where we spend our time and our energy, we're going to find ourselves with that nature, that energy coming along with us. Developing the powers, the 12 powers, is an opportunity to carry ourselves into the kingdom of God, to the kingdom of earth, to the kingdom on earth. And I invite you to go there. I invite you to go to the kingdom here on earth, to live in love in those powers. For as the heart equalizes life, the life flows in the body, and so love harmonizes the thoughts of the mind. And when we see pictures like this from the eclipse, there is no doubt that we harmonize and we live in an incredible environment of love, just as we live in an environment of love here. So I invite you all into the kingdom of heaven within. And so it is. Namaste.